Welcome to the Dr. Detective, a PhD true crime podcast, the show where we bring you critical assessment based on experience. This episode, we're going to talk about episode 30, the Ecotech Genius. So periodically, we talk about various subjects, as you all know. We talk about other death cases or unaliving cases. We talk about overdose. We talk about scam and fraud. We're going to highlight some genius that was identified. So when I talk about the Ecotech Genius, we're talking about Julian Brown, 21 or 22-year-old young man out of Atlanta. So we're going to get right into the story. It's brought to you by the Dr. Detective series. Please share, like, and subscribe. Watch the channel, share the channel. You can listen to us on Amazon Music, Spotify, or Audible as well, right? So again, before we get started, this is just for educational purposes and awareness. Again, we're highlighting genius in this segment. So we always hope for the best, and we'll talk about his story, his revolutionary technology that he's discovered out of Duluth, Georgia. This comes by way of Duluth, Georgia. So Julian Brown, 21 years of age. He's been working on this project for 5 years, by the way. So he started this at the age of 16. And this 21-year-old man created a machine that turns plastic waste into fuel. Let's live with that for a second, right? Plastic into fuel. And this is a real thing. This is not AI. This is not an imagined story, right? This machine he's created can not only turn plastic into gasoline, but it can turn it into diesel fuel, natural gas, jet fuel, and some solid carbons. He calls this process solar microwave pyrolysis. So he uses sunlight, solar panels, to distill plastics, turning it into crude oil and then turning it into various forms of fuel that we can use. So he calls his transformation of plastic to gasoline plastiline, his transformation of plastics to diesel, plastadiesel, right? So play on words there. But he is a 21-year-old inventor, and this is done by solar. So we're going to talk about the process of how he does this, and we'll let him kind of speak to, what he does and what is his actual process. It's a video he talks about. Pretty fascinating, by the way.
And process plastic waste and turn it into gasoline, diesel, jet fuel, natural gas, and solid carbon.
Wow, that's amazing.
All off of sunlight.
All off of sunlight.
Yep.
So you can turn plastic into gas, and we can use this for our cars.
Of course. And we've used it in all types of cars already, as I've demonstrated it to be superior
Right.
to pump fuel.
And I saw where you did a post where you were scared for your life because of this technology you created, and you felt like you were being watched.
Yeah, so I've had Black Hawk helicopters didn't show up on flight radar, circle my property a few times at night, had that on video.
Who do you think these Black Hawk helicopters were?
Well, given that it did not show up on Flight Radar 24, which almost every aircraft in the world does, including military jets, it had to be more than likely a three-letter government agency, CIA, FBI. It could have possibly been the state troopers, but that's unlikely because of where my location is. Like I said, I know I'm not going to live long.
Mm-hmm.
If I need to give my life to get this technology out there to make the change, and I'm willing to do it, if that means that I'm not going to live long, then that's okay.
So would you be willing to give your life for this cause?
Of course. Yeah, I've already blown myself up.
After you went viral for creating this technology, you disappeared for weeks and went missing. Like, what happened?
Yeah, so I had a pretty serious cyber attack situation. Over the years in which I've done this, not everybody's happy with my work, and so there were some people who they took advantage of my iCloud, camera, the microphone, text logs, phone calls, everything.
Are you still in fear for your life?
I live in constant paranoia and on defense. I want to see this through to the end. I want to make an impact on the world, and so in order to do that, I need to be alive. And I understand that there are a lot of forces that don't want to see me prosper, that would prefer if I'm not here anymore.
Why do you think that certain people are threatened by this technology that you invented?
I understand that what I'm doing is innovative, and that's a breakthrough in many different ways and disruptive, right? This is a form of energy liberation. But the point is to get rid of plastic, right? I just
Right.
happen to make fuel, right?
Right.
We want to truly get rid of plastics and microplastics and nanoplastics on a chemical level where they can no longer be in the environment, no longer cause any harm. Eventually, society is going to catch up globally, but plastic should be considered a hazardous waste, and that's what I'm here for.
Wow, you are amazing.
So yeah, this is Julian Brown, right? He talks about, the technology, the invention, and it's kind of sad that he feels like, I'm not going to he's not going to live long, right? Again, we have to be careful with the power of our words and what we say. Um Hopefully he's well, he's safe. He went into hiding, but it was brought to my attention because of his disappearance. Initially, it was reported that he created this invention and he disappeared from social media, but that was intentional based upon his family and for his safety. So he's back now. He's demonstrating this technology in various ways. He started a gasoline engine Dodge car. He started a motorcycle made by BMW with his fuel. He started a diesel engine with the same conversion that he's done. So plastiline is here. Some of his tech that he talks about, he shows images of his machine and process and how he says he made his own gas station essentially. He's literally distilling the plastics. He's putting the plastic waste through his machine, and through that process, it comes out initially as crude oil that is then converted into the various formats, whether it be the gasoline, the diesel, the jet fuel, or the natural solid carbons or natural gas, even, right? So, beyond revolutionary and definitely a genius um, technology that's been invented that he's willing to share. So, again, let's say prayers for his protection, prayers for his safety. Hopefully, there's a company that comes along and either licenses this tech from him or takes them under his wing and pays him for it, right? So, again, he's willing to, cooperate and bring this to the world, right? He wants to eliminate waste. So, and we all know how much plastic there is, and how much plastic and waste dumps there is out there, and just pollution and so forth. So, this kind of reminds me of that movie Back to the Future, where they were trying to start the DeLorean, and they had traveled through time, and the wild, crazy scientist was putting like garbage into his reactor, and it started the car, and they were off to their next destination, right? So this is a reality. This is not sci-fi. We are here, and I want to congratulate him on his inventions. So let's continue to talk about this. Julian Brown, again, 21 years of age, started when he was 16 years old. 16. And of course, it's been a journey. Nothing is without risk. This October this year, he actually tested his fuel and started a Dodge Charger, where he actually changed out the filters, put his fuel into the Dodge Charger, started it, and it was driven. There's a video about that also. We're not going to show that right now, but I just wanted to highlight he is testing this in front of a live audience on video camera, and he has security. November of this year, he tested his plastiline fuel in a street bike made by BMW SK1 motorcycle, where it actually started the bike and someone actually drove the bike several laps. Live audience on camera with security and so forth, and safety precautions, police and so forth present. So he's doing things the right way, and he's just trying to show proof of concept. It's not just a concept. Now we have proof of concept, and he's also had his fuel tested in a lab, and they said it was actually surprisingly clean, and they were surprised that you could distill plastics into fuel. So they're floored by that. I imagine the waves are buzzing, the communication is out there, the companies are paying attention, and I'm sure they're on notice. It's maybe why the helicopters and so forth. But everything has to be done safely. So he did successfully start this motorcycle. He also tested his diesel conversion fuel in a GMC Sierra, and it successfully ran. Started it, successfully ran, was driven, and audience applauds in front of a live audience on camera, on film, right? So documenting, they are making history with this invention, and think what this could do for society, right? It just has to be done the proper way through the proper channels, right? So again, October 31st, this is when he tested the Plasta diesel in his in a diesel engine GMC Sierra pickup truck. Successfully started, successfully driven, right? Real story. Of course, as I mentioned, nothing's without risk. You heard Julian talk about he had an accident. There was an actual explosion that took place during the process of one of his conversions, put plastic into his machine, and the pressure was off or was not properly sealed with the vacuum. And he's aware of what happened, but it exploded with him standing close to it, and primarily was projected towards his feet and legs. So he did receive serious burns. He was hospitalized as a result, but he survived, thankfully. And he knows the mistakes and errors that he made, and hopefully corrects that from now on, and has some safety gear in place as well. So again, look at this. This is just being done in the backyard, essentially. So again, safety first as always. We love science. We love the innovative processes and people that actually engage and take the time to research and develop and invent these things, but it does come with a cost. He said he also had some threats. So separate from the safety risk of creating this, he had the explosion, hospitalized. He was being followed essentially, right? He mentioned that someone had let air out of his tires. He had a cyber attack, right? So as a result, his mother agreed to put him in hiding, right? Take him off of social media from documenting this, and put him into a safe, secure environment. So to slow him down a little bit, to slow things down, get security and so forth. So he did perform what's called a disappearing act, essentially. His mother did come out and confirm that he was safe, and this was in his best interest at the time to protect him, right? So it's always about protection. It should be about safety. But yeah, some of the things he mentioned, his tires being tampered with, and or being followed and so forth, that is serious with those allegations. So again, he mentioned the lug nuts loosened on his car, right? That's serious. I mean, is it really that detrimental? I know it's a huge disruptor for the energy sector. We're talking about fuel, right? There have been wars fought over fuel, but we're not getting into the politics or going there. But the magnitude of what we're talking about. So there were helicopters recorded, captured on video, and by still images of him, them circling his home and being followed and so forth. So yeah, this is supposedly a fuel that is more efficient than commercial grade fuels that you and I are buying just about every other day or so. So again, just to consider, when this was tested, his fuels were tested in ASAP labs. As I mentioned, they said the fuel was well distilled, surprisingly clean for it having come from plastics, and it was literally mind-blowing for the scientists to know that plastic could be distilled into diesel fuel or gasoline or natural gas. So game changer, right? Highlight the genius, right? Hope for the best for him. And we'll stay tuned. Julian Brown, we want him to live a long time. Again, patent process. I believe he has a patent for this as well. Has some backing by some celebrities. So hopefully the energy companies do the right thing, and he issues a license to them or works in collaboration. If you have any stories that you'd like to see, or of any other genius inventions, technology, and so forth, share in the comments, please. Like and subscribe. Let's pay attention to this young man and what he does. The ecotech genius, Julian Brown, we commend him for that, for what he's doing, continuing the process. Again, this is the Dr. Detective. Please go to our website at thedoctordetective.net. Click on podcast. Any one of those images will allow you to go right to the podcast channel. Subscribe, like, share. Check out the background. Look at some of the episodes. Check out the section for the books we published and more to come. So again, episode 30, Julian Brown, I want to say thank you for watching. Please share, like, and subscribe. This is a Dr. Detective, APHD, True Crime Podcast. Share, like, subscribe. Spread some love. Thanks.